So this is about starting a farm in the Philippines. If you don't want to buy a land, you can go in places like this when there is problem with transport and pay the government the usage of the land, and you can do your farming, because you'll be seeing a map of all the available for usage rental, and then you can put up your own farm, but you cannot sell it on. If you sell it on, it will be illegal sale, and you are not also be able to title it, because in the first place it's not open for titles anymore. It's protected landscape of Cebu City. So there is the couple starting a farm land here in the Philippines manually. If you think about it, they only have a carabao. So what you're looking at here is the water buffalo that help those farmers there. They are new settlers here in the mountains of Sibugay, because here some of the lands that's been titled before are left to be titled, but usually because now the government is claiming it as part of the protected areas of Cebu City, you can only have the usage of the land for the new owners. So you'll be lucky to be able to have to find a titled land around here. So it's rare, because when it's titled, it's left to be titled. But you can see that these two couple that you can see here is the new settlers. Just have a usage of the land. There's not a lot of people trying to live here because they cannot stand without transport. As you can see, it took me 26 minutes to come here. So this video is about the farming. They don't use the tractors, machineries. They only use, as you can see there, hoes, machetes, and this one, the water buffalo that you're looking at, that they made in a place to where it can have its own swimming pool to dip in to cool himself out after farming. It costs around 20 to 25,000 pesos to buy this kind of bull, but they do live longer. But that's what it needs is a watering hole that it can lie down and have a cool down and its own mud pool. So here in the mountains of Sibugay, this is what most people have, a carabao. Carabao, we call it here, water buffalo, and this size now costs about 20 to 25,000 pesos. So there's two new farmers that live here in this area. So you can see how they started their farm now. Starting a farm in the Philippines should have been titled, but because they don't have the tools, machineries, they build that shed over there past the ficus tree, and then they have one carabao, and you can see that they are still clearing the land. So they are starting their farm here, and there. But if you have the proper tools, I don't think it will take so long. But I think this couple is only doing this so they have something to do. Because look at the space that they got here, all surrounded by mountains. So they I heard over here that they just transferred here. They come from their parents' land and they just come here to settle up their own farm, to set up their own farm. So what they plant here is vegetables and ornamental plants, because as of the moment, that's the very popular here in Cebu City, is being a plantito, plantita, they call it, plant auntie and plant uncle. So most people are now poaching the forest to get the rarest plant you can get. But since I got access to all of this forest, so it's the farmer Willie's wife is picking up all the plants that she can bring. But we don't want to climb that picos tree. There's loads of epiphytes up there. Maybe but it's too far. Nobody wants to climb there. So what we're looking at here is the hill that the family of the wife of Farmer Willie owns. You know, there's used to be a fall there, waterfalls that leads to the river, but it's dried up when it's not raining so hard. But that's where the water runs through towards the river down there. The problem with this kind of land, your access is only by walking. So how did they get there? How did they go there rather is get down from this hill where we are and then go up there and they start filming. So if you see this one, that mountain, that one, and also this one is owned by the family of the wife of Farmer Willie. So they are not farming it anymore because most of the family members are now just wanting to work in the city because there's a lot of hiring of construction. You know, there's like a flat plateau there. That's the edge of it, is the start of their property. But it's just off-grid. You can see it's just a mountainous area. They settled in these mountains here in Sibugay a long time ago. Can you exist on this? You gotta have to be, this is the proper off-grid. Although you can farm all you want, you need to dig your own deep well. You can see there's a waterfall that leads to the river there. But it dries up sometimes, but the river just continue on down there. So you're gonna get down from this hill and go up there. So it needs a real adventurous expat to be able to survive in a jungle life over here. But you can see there are people that's farming around. There's like vegetable farm there that you can see. But I'm just looking through because I wanna show my viewers and ask them, can you survive on this one? No electric, so but that's be sorted with solar. Communications is not a problem because you have the towers all around for the city, and that's why there's a lot of signal here. But the thing is where you're gonna charge your gadgets. But you can when you got all the solar equipments, and then the transportation, because it's only accessible by walking. So this is what you call a very simple mountain life. You are now in the middle of the forest. This is located in Pungol, Sibugay. Actually, there's reported lots of monkeys live there by themselves. Because nobody is now toiling the land. You can see only a small portion up there has been flattened out for farms, but no, there's not a lot, you know. And you can see your surroundings are just mountains and mountains, and this is what you hear it, the birds chirping every morning. What you're looking at here is the one of the biggest ficus tree that's located here among the forests that I'm showing you on the right side. So this is the place of Farmer Willie. He is on top of the hill. But I want to share with you that in the Philippines, ficus tree are considered as houses of spirits. You know, the superstitious belief that if you are near a ficus tree, there's someone living there that is not human, like humans, like look like human, but they are actually spirits, and these are their residents are the big trees, big mango trees, big picos trees. Picos is notorious for that in the Philippines, as we're the house mostly of the spirits. So there are even legend around here that children unaccompanied sometimes disappear around this area. Like there's someone that lives in this picos tree that don't like the children around, but if you look at the top of that picos tree, there's a lot of plants that's growing up there. It's an untouched tree. It's just left to grow in its own. And look, that's what they're looking at. The ficus tree is carrying a lot of wild plants. In fact, a lot of birds is living there. You can hear it here. So, ficus tree is one of our superstitious medium that whenever you are near living a ficus tree, you need to be wary that there's some spirit lives there. And although if you're not superstitious, of course you don't care, but in here, like this one's on the forest, look, it's untouched, no one lives there. The ficus tree is just left on its own for years, so it comes to that size. And a lot of growth can be seen on top there. So in Tagalog they call this the balete tree, but here we call it in the Visayan area as dakit. Look, the wife of farmer really shows some plants growing on the bottom of the ficus tree. She don't want to go near because there's also a lot of reported snakes in there living near around the area. Look at how it's been dense there. I am now on the top of the hill of Sibugay, Pungol, Sibugay, Cebu City. You can see the view around here. You are totally off grid. There's no electricity. It hasn't reached this far yet, but there is good signal. All the towers for Cebu City residents are there. And it's quite a gloomy day. It's raining once in a while. But look at all of this. That one there is Farmer Willie's place. That's where we're at. So you can see how much usage that she had here. I mean, he still can extend, you know, his fence. His usage is about 3,000 square meter of land to farm. And this is also he don't own that. Only some of the lands here is owned by his wife. Is the one who's bearing, the wife's family is the one who's native here. He is a native of a different barangay. But since he knows that this area, there's a lot of places that you can rent out from the government for 25,000 pesos as usage for farming. So he availed some of the land, about 3,000 square meter for 25 pesos usage. But look at the view. You will be totally off grid. You won't be suffering with telecommunication signal because it's not even a problem here. I was able to do my internet and calling, and the water has now been found by Farmer Willie that he had a source of water there. He dug the well himself, him and his son. So water is not a problem. The biggest problem here is transport. Only accessible so far with motorbikes, as you can see, or walking. But like said, the longer that you keep on walking, the more that you get used to this. So over here, you can see farms being developed. People starting to do the farming, clearing out the land. And what a peaceful place. You might hear once in a while some music blasting, but most of the time, 90% is just the birds chirping. And with open fields like this, no wonder that you can see strange lights in the sky, like Farmer Willie reported saying that there are lights in the sky that they can see sometimes, that on top of here or on top of another mountain, because you can see there's only a few people that lives on those mountains where you can see by their kubo up there. So the mountainside of Cebu City, this is Oghay Pungol, Sibugay.